Welcome back, everyone, to the SMLCS. I'm your lone host, Chendog. Feel like someone else is missing, but that's okay. Today, as a replacement, I have a little doggo here. He's gonna be my co-host, so I'll just put him here. So, okay, let's get into the matches today. Okay, so for game one, we have Meet the Coomers on the blue side versus their opponents, Bar Spirit Gaming. And game two, we have Win Diesel versus Win Win Win. So a nice rematch for both. Let's roll over these. Okay, so for game one, Meet the Coomers versus Bar Spitter Gaming. Last time, Bar Spitter Gaming took the win away, and the Gangplank slipped through the draft, and Pyro just kind of picked it up and rolled with it, and also rolled Meet the Coomers in the process. Looks like that time Big Boss and Big Boss was stopped in the bot lane. Very well played by Secret Age down there. Also able to get the snowball rolling for his own carry in Tonin. So the bot lane matchup there definitely played out more in the favor of Bar Spirit Gaming. Very well played and very good suppression on their part to keep the win conditions of Meet the Coomers in check throughout the entire game. Of course, they're just able to play through their winning solo lanes and take the win. Let's move on to game two now. Game two, Win Diesel versus Win 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 was Win Win Win's victory that time. Very well played Udyr jungle that time by Shaw, able to abuse the weaker macro from the full melee composition, unable to control the waves as well. So very well played victory by Win Win Win. Of course, the win conditions, if Win Diesel decide to keep the same composition, will be the exact same. With the melee composition, Win Diesel will look to win through their team fighting and lane control, and Win 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 will, of course, look to win through their own macro play and wave control rather than just winning through lane kingdom, because, ideally, the melee fighter champs are better at taking those beefy team fights. That will mostly clue up all the important notes. Running over the key points, which we hope to see as well. Let's hope the Gangplank doesn't make it through the draft phase again in game one. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes. And also, a second note for game two is that the Mundo rework is probably enabled. Let me just quickly ask the commissioner. It's enabled, right? It's live? Yes? Okay. Yeah, okay, awesome. It's allowed. It's allowed. All right. So the Mundo rework is allowed. And then, therefore, we might see Mr. Sumo Monkey on that if it makes it through the draft. All right, that will be most of it. All right, let's move on to the break now here. Okay, oh, never mind. Draft phase it is. Immediate into draft. All right, looks like it will be the Yasuo ban this time, coming first out of Meet the Coomers. Very, very interesting ban here. Again, it is targeting Hasuki there in the mid lane, so that'll be interesting. Of course, the Samira ban immediately responds, taking Big Boss off of one of his most practiced picks. But of course, there is the Kane ban coming out from Meet the Coomers here, targeting Juno in the jungle. Of course, this was one of his highlight champions in the first season of SMLCS. 20 seconds on the clock, waiting for Bar Spitter Gaming's response ban here. Looks like the Vladimir ban will come through here for Bar Spitter Gaming. Okay, looks like the Gangplank ban is placed here on the side of Meet the Coomers. It is interesting to note, though, you know what? We should keep the surprise hidden a bit longer, because clearly Bar Spirit Gaming ban is not necessarily as well targeted. We'll discuss the Vladimir ban later, but of course the Amumu ban comes in here on Admiral Bishop, because of course it's one of his most played. It looks like we have Gwen picked here first for Meet the Coomers, as it is an enabled champion now. So All right, well, I guess the cat's probably out of the bag now since pick was secured, but we did get notice beforehand that Big Boss will be role swapping to the top lane with, of course, Johnson but V2 in the bot lane here. So the Vladimir ban, of course, it does still hit Big Boss. It probably was meant for Johnson but V2, but of course now he will be in the bot lane, so that does not matter as much anymore. All right, it will be the Volibear and the Nautilus picked up. Nautilus is a very strong playmaker champion. Of course, good synergy with Kai'Sa as well for the bot lane of Bar Spirit Gaming. Although it is important to note that Kai'Sa did get nerfed this patch, and also I'm not exactly sure as to how practiced Tonin is on the champ, so it's likely that we will just see a Misfortune or Tristan instead. Very strong picks, and of course, Meet the Coomers respond with Lulu. Very strong Enchanter pick. Very good at shutting down the engage. Perhaps a bit overtuned on this patch, so very good to see. Very good counter pick here. It's not a direct hard counter pick, but it's sort of a soft counter for the engage. Here we have Vel'Koz picked, of course, comfort pick for the mid laner in Elongated Girth. This is one of his most prized picks, so we'd love to see him perform on that. It's likely to see a mid pick here or an AD finish off for Barspitter Gaming's first phase, the draft. And it will be the AD pick Jhin for Tonin in the bot lane. So Jhin Nautilus is an alright bot lane combo. It does have a high damage output and all-in potential, but of course Jhin is still very vulnerable as an immobile AD carry and requires, requires a lot of peel to supplement. Gale Force isn't necessarily enough. It's on a 1 minute 30-second cooldown, and of course the Kai'Sa ban comes in response for Bar Spirit Gaming. Of course, being dove on is probably one of the worst feelings as Jhin, so taking away the Kai'Sa for Meet the Coomers is probably a great idea. Meet the Coomers here, they're waiting for a response ban either in the mid lane or top lane here, depending on if the Volibear is flex top, but I'm pretty sure it is jungle. The Echo ban comes through here, so that is targeting, again, Hasaki's champ pool in the mid lane, which draws thinner. Seconds on the clock here for Barspitter Gaming, and it will be the Tristana ban, so taking out two very strong dive 80 carries away from Johnson but V2 here. So can't wait to see what their response will be. Of course, there is also the Zed ban again. Hasaki eating up 3 of these target bans, so it's interesting to see what he will do here. A lot of the strong diving champions that are able to kill Jhin very quickly at the start of the teamfights have been removed from the equation here. It will be LeBlanc locked in for Hasaki here. I'm not sure how practiced he is on this. It's completely new, so we love to see how he performs here. I do believe it is a winning matchup against Vel'Koz, though. As a ranged champion, it's significantly easier to farm and weather the poke from the Vel'Koz. And also will be a Jinx pick on the side of Meet the Coomers here. Very strong AD carry right now. It's probably the best one next to Kai'Sa and Tristana, which were of course banned away. Although it's not quite a diving champion, the resets and the strong front line, the strong damage output from Jinx against the front line does allow her to chew quickly to the back line, and definitely she has a higher DPS for those front-to-back team fights that the Jhin definitely does look for. And of course, it will be the Sejuani comfort pick coming in for Admiral Bishop in the jungle on the side of Meet the Coomers. Fairly strong composition from them. They have a vulnerable backline, but of course they have a Lulu to supplement. They do make up for their lack of CC in the top half of the map with the Sejuani jungle, so we like to see that. It looks like a very standard front-to-back composition from Meet the Coomers with a midline diver in the Gwen, and for Barspitter Gaming, they counter the Gwen pick with a Jax. I'm not too sure if this is like a hard counter, I would say, although Gwen does need to stack her Q in order to get sufficient damage with it, and her E and most of her kit just consists of auto-attacking. I do believe she has enough mobility to actually find a way out of the Counter-Strike for Jax, so I do think Gwen and Jax are pretty evenly matched on that front. Also, Barsphere Gaming with a pretty strong dive composition. I feel like the Jhin pick is a bit out of place, but they do have a good dive in the Volibear, the Jax, and of course the LeBlanc. The Nautilus all as well is very good for dive, so the Jhin pick kind of feels a bit out of place. It depends on if they're going to play around him or not. But let's see how this plays out. Let's move into a break now as we prepare to move back onto the Rift. All right, everyone, welcome back onto the Rift for the first game of day 5 here. Of course, Barspirited Gaming rolling out onto the map, looking for what appears to be a bot side invade as Meet the Groomers will just fan out into the regular 5-point start. It is important to note that both top laners here are running Teleport and Ignite. They're both on very fairly mobile champions, so they think they can get away without having the flash here. So of course, the jungle play is definitely going to be very top-centric this game. Johnson but V2 getting spotted out here, blows flash, although Secret Age doesn't find the dredge line here. A bit awkward from both players, but of course he does trade a bit of mana for a flash, so they'll take it any day. Husky eating here a bit of poke as they all walk back up to their respective lanes, and guess this will just be a flashless start for the bot lane of Meet the Coomers, but that will be it. Looks like it will be a leashless start on the top side for Juno, though. So, of course, Barspirited Gaming here moving onto the map with the advantage of hiding their jungle clear. Of course, Meet the Coomers here are leashing the red buff on the bot side of the map, so, there will be priority in the bot lane for the side of Barspirited Gaming here early. Big Boss and Pyro looking to trade here. Big Boss taking a healthy chunk off of Pyro. He just responds by popping the Corrupting Pot. Not looking to really fight. Pyro here activates the response with the counter strike, finds a stun, and both will kind of just trade evenly. But although this time he does grab the health pot off of Big Boss. Not much happening elsewhere on the map. Both junglers seem to be clearing in a sort of mirrored fashion here, both taking their red and their raptors and moving elsewhere onto the map. Big Boss will take a bit more poke damage here in the trade against Pyro. Very well played on his part, although he has used up a lot of charges of his Corrupting Pot now. Not much left to find. Husky finding a huge chunk there in the mid lane on to the Vel'Koz. We'll wait to see what will happen next, but of course, looks like Admiral Bishop here has skipped his wolves to move on to the Gromp. Perhaps he could be looking for an early gank on the top side. It is important to note, again, another reminder that Pyro is running without flash here, so there could be a potential dive, although Pyro is looking fairly healthy. And of course, the counter-strike's done here in the trade. Ignite comes down from Pyro, and he will look for the kill, and it will go through. He will sustain with his biscuits, and first blood goes to the side of BSG. Looks like Scuttle Crabs will be traded evenly here, although this is interesting for Admiral Bishop as his gank pathing will now be kind of offset as his top laner did go down, and he was likely gonna try to gank top and win through that lane with the flashless Jax. But of course, Ignite was expended by both top laners now, so they're both just hanging on to teleport, and it looks like there is a little clash in the mid lane, although Husky is able to escape safely with the distortion, as Blanc is very slippery as a champion. Not much for Admiral Bishop to do, and of course he does know that the opposite Scuttle is likely traded, so he will just move on to his wolves. It is important to note here that Juno does get the Krugs off of Admiral Bishop here in the bot side of the map, as Admiral Bishop was looking for a gank that could not be. It looks like more trading will happen in the top side. Of course, now the Sheen. Oh, wait, dredge line here. Missed onto a minion for Secret Agent. Won't find much. Juno here does splash in and finds the stun onto DVD, but not much will happen, and will take an extra turret shot and go down. Secret Age forced to blow flash here, giving the reset to Johnson, but here Johnson but focused a bit too hard on Secret Age, though not really looking at Tonin, and the trade will actually go the way of Johnson but V2, but he will go down as Tonin will flash after him, and it looks like Pyro is caught out here in the top lane. Of course, he will go down without flash, although he does have TP here to recover. and won't miss too much of the wave. So a bit of a misplay there from Juno to kick off everything. That definitely was a big problem as he gave Johnson V2 the reset there to take down Secret Age. Although yeah, Johnson V2 did overcommit a bit there for the Nautilus, which allowed Tonin to get the response kill. So it was kind of even, but of course then in the top lane, you know, they did find the kill onto the flashless Pyro, so that was very well played. Secret Age with the roam here, Dredgeline onto Elongated Girth, very well played, but Husky won't have enough damage to actually finish him off, so quite unfortunate here. Big Boss again looking to trade in his opponent's minion wave, knowing that Admiral Bishop is around, and of course they will find Pyro again. He's able to find the leap strike away, but of course he will get stunned up and taken down, and it will not matter. Oh, Juno here trying to catch out DVD. Johnson V2 misplacing the traps a bit and expends Flash early despite the Volibear Q wearing off here. A bit afraid, but you know, better safe than sorry. Of course, it is BSG with the bottom side river control here, as they may potentially look for a dragon, although their bot lane does not have priority and their mid laner just base, so perhaps they will not take the dragon despite having full control of the area. Rather odd. Of course, because of the jungle start of both of these junglers, looks like Admiral Bishop here does find himself on the correct side of the map with his camps, although Juno kind of isn't. He sort of has to path top here in order to keep his CS and slight XP advantage, although looks like that probably won't. Oh, it looks like it will happen. They will look to potentially give up the Drake here as Juno does base and head top. Pyro looking for more trades, seeing that both laners have Ignite up again. Hasuki with the mid lane priority here. Does potentially lend some dangers to Admiral Bishop doing the dragon, but of course not much will happen. The river is fully warded, but the drag is warded for both teams, so not much will happen. Control wards going down on that side of the map, and Admiral Bishop will try to find something on the mid laner, but to no avail. Secret Age here, clearing out some of the vision so they could potentially regain some control on the side of the map, although both junglers have moved on to the opposite side. Pyro with the push and the minion wave advantage here. Looks like Juno is taking the blue buff from Admiral Bishop, and they will likely find each other here. It is important to note that Admiral Bishop does have Smite and Juno does not, so he will just give up this buff, and of course, Big Boss is the one to rotate first, which is kind of odd because Pyro was the one with the push in the lane. Looks like he will just back off though, as he's not strong enough to deal with it. Looks like both junglers are making their way to the top side of the map now here. Admiral Bishop waiting in the river bush, although not much will happen. Husky goes in for the flash distortion, well, flash QW, which of course finds the kill there. Very well played by him there. Looks like Pyro will look to trade here potentially, as he does know that his jungler is close. Of course, he is not spotted on the control ward in the river just yet, but of course he will show now, and Admiral Bishop is in time to respond, and not much will happen. Oh, looks like Admiral Bishop engages here with the Q and finds the W slow, but not much will really happen here, I don't think. It's too dangerous to dive a Volibear and a Jax, despite the low health pool on the Jax. Looks like the ball lane is going fairly evenly here for both sides, which is actually more of an advantage to the side of Meet the Coomers, as Lulu does scale a lot harder than Nautilus does, and Jinx and the consistent damage she's able to output ramps up significantly compared to the stronger mid-game damage of the Jhin. So it's interesting to see how this will play out, although not much seems to be happening, and no dragons have been taken, and it is 10 minutes into the game. Although it does look like Admiral Bishop will take the Rift Herald here with his top side priority. It could potentially be some worry about how the priority in the bot lane swings back and forth, but Juno has not been really looking for the drag, although it looks like he will go now. Looks like another solo kill in the mid lane here, as Haseki will just take him down there with a well placed LeBlanc combo, and you know, it's hard to run away from LeBlanc with a distortion, a maxed out level distortion now, as he is level 9. Admiral Bishop will look to play to the top side of the map with the Herald here to try and get the Gwen slightly more ahead, but not sure what will happen here, as Haseki does make his way up to the top lane. He is a 2-kill LeBlanc, although he hasn't spent all of the gold in its entirety. He does show, and Admiral Bishop does take the engage, but doesn't land the stun, so Haseki will just make his way to safety. Of course, the missed Mega Death Rocket here won't find anything. Big Boss engaging onto Haseki with the E, but not in the, oh, Dredgeline in the bot lane from Secret Age does find Johnson Butt V2, but of course Lulu will keep him safe and not much will happen. Pyro here, ward hopping a bit late here and will go down. Of course, the Gwen ultimate, very strong when fully stacked, will find him. And of course they look for the other kill onto Haseki, but he will just make it out again with the distortion. And perhaps playing a bit too aggressive without flash on the Jax here. It's a bit dangerous of a pick. Of course, it looks like the jungle attention of Meet the Coomers has been placed more on the top side compared to that Juno's able to offer, so obviously it looks like the Gwen will pull ahead in the matchup. Secret Age here, camping in the bush, waiting for a misstep from Johnson Bud here. Looks like the top side of the map for Meet the Coomers will reset though here, although no objective to regroup in the bot side. Looks like they will just return to their standard lane assignments and continue to farm up. Juno has, however, occurred a relevant creep score lead, but of course that definitely matters a lot less in this more gank-centric meta, as of course jungle camp XP has been reworked and the rubber banding of the camps is significantly more important, as well as the fact of camp respawn timers being lengthened means that, you know, you're encouraged to gank more. So seeing a CS lead, but the lack of a level lead here in the jungle, I don't know if that fully makes up for the obvious kill gold and XP gold that Admiral Bishop is able to offer up to Big Bosk in the top side of the map. Looks like more standard trading will happen in all lanes. Big Boss first to take down a tower here in the top lane. Gwen is very, very adept at that with her E attack speed. Very, very powerful in that respect. Also, the fact that, you know, the Herald, the first Herald, was dedicated to that lane, so there's no surprise. I don't actually know if this taking the tower this early though on the Gwen was as great of an idea. Because taking the tower this early does hand over the long lane to Pyro, which now he can of course farm up again and catch back up. Despite his 3 deaths, he is not actually that far behind. He's only down 1 level, and for a while before the tower was taken, they were both actually equal in levels. So seeing this isn't as encouraging. Does not inspire much confidence on the side of Meet the Coomers, as you'd like to see your lead grow and pull farther ahead, but the longer lane might hamper that. Of course, the Big Boss is still the stronger duelist here, with the stronger pick, and of course, the item lead and the gold lead, so that will still push towards Pyro, but looks like another trade in the mid lane here. Haseki will actually get hit by the stun this time. And another trade in the jungle immediately following that. Looks like Juno and Admiral Bishop, two tanks, will just butt heads a bit and then go their separate ways, as neither figures they can kill the other without the support from their team. Mega Death Rocket does come out here from Johnson Butt V2, but won't find anything. Good signaling ping from the bot side of the map, telling Pyro to back off, so well played. Of course, Juno does use the Volibear ultimate here, but won't find much. Looks like there will be additional pressure in the bot lane now to try and grab some drag control before it happens. Admiral Bishop helping his bot lane push out, and of course walk into the river, but he is late. Secret Age will kind of find him here and tank a bit of damage. Juno joining the fight, and the depth charge will find Johnson Butt V2, although the rapid growth will come out from the Lulu and keep the Jinx safe. Admiral Bishop tanking plenty of the curtain call. Not much damage to be found. Big Boss does TP in and find a huge ultimate onto 2. And of course, will take down the jungler in Juno. And of course, the Ignite will burn down the Jhin. Very well played. Good TP timing. Oh wait, he didn't TP. He walked. What? Wait. Why did he walk? He had the TP advantage. Okay, that's weird, but whatever. Moving on. Of course, Pyro trying to salvage what play he can here, zones the bot lane from the dragon, although not much avail as he is quite behind, but you know, an 80 carry is still an 80 carry, and face tanking a Jax won't work. I don't know why Johnson Butt decided to walk up there when he had flash and had the range and kite with the W slow already landing onto the Jax. There's no reason to walk back in, but of course, walking back into like 200 range to get leap striked is a strategy, I guess.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
And looks like that will be the bot lane tower taken for Meet the Coomers. It's interesting to see how BSG will respond here with their outer towers taken in the side lanes. As it might be ideal here to position their AD carry in the mid lane and have the very slippery LeBlanc and Jax position themselves in the longer side lanes to keep themselves safe now that they are lacking a turret there. So we'll see how that plays out, but it looks like they will just be keeping the LeBlanc in the mid lane with the lead that it has occurred. Depth charge not depth charge. Dredgeline will find his way onto Johnson Butt V2, and Splash will be expended here to keep himself alive. Very well played, as the LeBlanc was not far behind. Looks like this will be a Rift Herald fight potentially, as Big Boss is spotted out on the invade and does kind of find himself between two. A huge chunk though onto Johnson Butt V2, and it will be Big Boss who is CC'd up, and of course he's trying to buy as much time as he can, but he will go down. Gwen is healing, but not enough to tank 2 people's worth, and of course Root will be found on Admiral Bishop, who has to expend Flash to get away, and it will be second Rift Heralds going to the side of Barspitter Gaming. Perhaps overextending there a bit on the Gwen. Gwen is strong, but not strong enough to 2v1, or rather 3v1, as LeBlanc did make her way there, make her way to the fight close to the end. That was not quite it. Looks like Haseki will be, of course, zoning Admiral Bishop here with the huge lead that has accrued on the LeBlanc, and they will just look to use the Rift Herald to break open the mid lane turret and try to transition themselves into a better mid-game position here. Okay. Looks like the second tower won't go down, but of course the Rift Herald will get another charge off, and it looks like we're almost at the point of the Nayram. Very close to, but not quite. Looks like everyone's kind of grouping around mid, despite the tower already going down. Pyro here leaving the Gwen to the top side for itself, and of course going bot as is no dragon, and he does have TP, although it's only for a minute. Let's see. Yep, so of course BSG putting their ball into a mid now as the mobile ones. That's a very smart choice considering they still have a tower standing there, so they are a lot more safe in this position. I don't know so much so about putting the Vel'Koz in the bot lane here alone with the Jax. Although the Jax is behind, the Jax is still a Jax with Ignite, and Vel'Koz is vulnerable to such champions. Of course, Haseki is able to hold himself off against Big Bosk because he is just more mobile with ultimate and distortion. So there's no immediate way for Big Bosk to find the kill, and on top of the fact that he doesn't have flash, very hard to gap close onto that. Looks like drag setup will be made first by the side of BSG. Of course, this river control will be very important, and all members do have TP on both sides in this game, so let's see how this fight plays out. Not much happening in the top lane though, just some back and forth trading. BSG still holds the advantage in the river. Meet the Kumars here doesn't seem like they are too sure about what to do. Looks like they want to check into the river, but of course, blind checking it is not the best move. And they are just sort of leaving their mid laner in the bot lane to clean up the waves, and it will be the dragon going to the side of BSG, it looks, as Johnson but V2 does use the Mega Death Rocket, but won't find anything. Pyro here caught out a bit, though. He does find his way over with Leap Strike, and does get the heal from Tonin to keep himself alive. Well played zone there, and well-timed Leap Strike to get himself out. Good communication, I guess, to get his team over. Big Boss, though, will take the top lane tier 2 in response, not expending the TP there at all. I honestly thought that a TP play was to be made with the LeBlanc backing off. But it looks like Big Boss will face check into Juno here, and he realizes that he probably doesn't have enough power to fight multiple members alone, but of course his team does finally show up here, and heralds him safe passage out of the enemy jungle. Looks like BSG is making their way for Baron control as Meet the Kumars is forced to reset off of the previous jungle invade. Taking their Gwen off the map means that they need to take pretty much everyone else off the map, considering that, you know, that they should play as a team, and also that, you know, the Gwen does have TP, but TPing to a fight is definitely worse than just being able to show as 5, and being chunked out is no way to fight, so... it's a smart decision, but looks like Barspirit Gaming won't actually set up the vision for the Baron control here, despite the drag just going down momentarily, and it still has a three-minute timer for the respawn, so I'm not sure why everyone's playing on this side of the map. That's a bit strange. Of course, both TP top laners are able to play on the bot side of the map, still with the Baron threat, but it's kind of strange that Barspirit Gaming would not prioritize Baron vision there off of Meet the Kumars reset. Of course, Meet the Kumars is able to walk back in and take control for the vision in the river on the top side, able to take the scuttle as well. Don't know why Barspirit Gaming would allow that, but they did. Of course, Big Boss here catching out Pyro once more, but looks to trade back with the counter strike. Now, of course, that's used up. Big Boss does sort of have the advantage, but he does not find the sweet spot on the Q, on the snip, and of course, he does allow for the counter strike again for the Jax to pick up, and that kill will be going the way of Pyro. It is also important to note, though, that Big Boss did engage that fight, or get engaged on, and choose to fight instead of run away with his E without having Ignite up, so that may not have been the right call. Gwen is strong, but of course, Jax does hold a lot of the cards to counter it. Secret Age here will just kind of wait in the bush, and oh my, the the trigger discipline on this man. He did not engage. Very smart move here, as engaging into 4 probably would not have been the right call. Despite having 3 teammates around, he will be going in first and receiving much of the focus fire much too early. So, very well played, and also well played on Johnson Boat V2 for not just straight up face checking into that bush there. It's probably very tempting to do. Although he was walking very close and, was in hook range. Of course, this blue buff will go to the way of Juno with his W plus smite. Not much to look for. Still no Baron vision for either team. Kind of strange, but I guess we can just overlook that. Of course, Big Boss now with both sums up is pushing the bot lane in the split, although Drag is now almost up. So of course, Juno is looking to base here and time his reset correctly with the dragon respawn timer. Pyro is of course on the other side of the map, ready with TP. We'll spot out that Admiral Bishop is on the wrong side of the map, so it is a good time for BSG to of course secure dragon control and dragon vision. They also do spot out that the Gwen is fairly pushed up and might look for a kill here, but Big Boss does back off correctly. Pyro here looking for a reset, as he does identify that, yep, his team will likely need him with the teleport for this upcoming fight, as Big Boss is already there. Elongated Girth on the other side of the map does have TP, but of course will likely be late for the fight unless he TPs early, because his team calls him. Of course, oddly enough, there's the TP, and control of the river will go to Meet the Coomers. Barspirit Gaming are relatively spread out here on the flank, so it is Meet the Coomers that are boxed in. They will have to pick someone to go on eventually, and it will be Juno looking for the engage. Will find a huge damage onto the Lulu and goes down to the curtain call, forcing out the rapid growth. Big Boss on the retreat here, but Pyro is much stronger at this point in the game, but he will go down. Johnson Buff V2 has to keep looking for the runaway. Johnson Buff V2 looking for the return kill, and of course will find one. Tone and Gale forcing straight into the face of Admiral Bishop, but won't find anything. Stun is almost back up, but the rockets are finding their way, and it will go to a triple kill for Johnson Buff V2, and it looks like Husky is the only remaining member of his team, but will look to TP back in, although this drag looks like it's already gone. Husky here looking for some trouble. Lands a Sigil of Silence and huge damage onto Johnson V2, but won't find anything. It's actually not Sigil of Silence, Sigil of Malice, right? But it used to silence, so I keep on calling it that, but it doesn't silence anymore. Of course, Johnson V2 will find the kill. A bit of misplay on Husky there as well. He kind of spread out his abilities, and he didn't nail Johnson V2 with his first ability there, so of course he will walk out with 2 HP and secure the kill and the dragon. Looks like dragons are now evenly matched for both sides, as finally there is some urgency over the Baron control here for the side of BSG. Will be Pyro engaging a fight in the bot lane here, as he does believe that he is stronger. Looks like the Counter-Strike and Leap Strike both come out. Big Boss forced to disengage the fight, as of course Gwen is not actually the best champion for burst damage. The burst damage mostly only comes from snip on the Q, but of course that actually isn't much when you don't have stacks and you haven't been autoing, which means you need the consistent damage before you can get the burst. Of course, Juno turning off the tower, very good patience, waiting out the stopwatch. Very well played. Of course, they will find the kill. Not much a Gwen can do versus 2 champions with melee CC that can be applied within the Shroud. Not much for Gwen to find. And of course, it will be Pyro burning down the turrets in the bot lane, although he does lack TP, so playing around here should be a bit more dangerous with the Baron up, but of course the vision there does allow him to gain a bit of comfort knowing that Meet the Coomers won't just start it up randomly. It is a bit strange though that they are sending Johnson but V2 to the bot lane here when the Gwen is back up. It looks like they will be swapping the lanes now correctly. Yep, okay. Red buff going over to what seems like the marksman of both sides as both sides finally realize that it may be time to play around Baron. Hazuki here looking for some damage. We'll just find a mimicked distortion, but that's about it. Pyro, of course, back here in the side lane versus mortal enemy in Big Bosk on the Gwen. Will make his move. Gwen will miss the snip, and it is now actually the Gwen who is a level down, as of course the long lane did give Pyro quite a lot of time and resources to bounce back, and of course the team fights in which, you know, went the way of BSG occasionally also propelled the Jax back into relevancy. Looks like it now will be Meet the Coomer's turn to secure some vision control as Secret Age and Juno will be here to respond. It's only a Lulu and a Sejuani, not much to do. Of course, the follow-up from Tonin and Hazuki are here before that of Meet the Coomers, and it will be the Lulu that goes down, and it will be Admiral Bishop as well. Not much they can do. Completely separated from the carries and damage dealers of their team who are just farming mid together, sharing XP for some reason. As top lane is not very safe to farm because the towers are taken and because it's a long lane and it's pushed in. Of course, now Spirit Gaming will be able to take the Baron without much contesting as Admiral Bishop is gone for another 23 seconds. Yep. And that will be the Baron going the way of Spirit Gaming as looks like Meet the Coomers try to get themselves back onto the map. They kind of have been playing the same formation for a while now. It's interesting to see them keep the Vel'Koz in the mid lane here with teleport and flash. It's definitely probably more beneficial to position the Vel'Koz in the side lane. However, a Vel'Koz at this point, even with flash versus a 5-kill LeBlanc, is definitely it's definitely just a sitting duck. It's too easy to kill. So there's no real place for this Vel'Koz to go, because the Vel'Koz and the Jinx are both so immobile. Even with summoner spells at this point, the LeBlanc can just find easy pickings in them, so they kind of are forced to sit together in the mid lane or have their team dedicate resources to allow them to farm a side lane. And it looks like both teams will look to set up around the dragon finally, as it is about to come up. Although Secret Age, with the plenty of wards set up around as he is there first, his team has priority. His team is stronger with the Baron. Looks like river control will go the way of BSG. As they look for a fight here, Pyro looking to take out some wards with his team and potentially engage with Counter-Strike soon, as the teleport is expended from Big Boss to get him here. It looks like Meet the Coomers will funnel in through the bot side of the jungle and look to play for the drag here. Pyro getting engaged on, but will find a leap strike away, will find safety in his teammates. It will be up to Secret Age and Juno here to look for an engage. The dragon is being burned down by the Gwen. Death Rocket comes out but won't find anything. Secret Age keeping the Gwen tied up, and it will be the Gwen trying to tank multiple. And it will be a huge ultimate from Juno, buying time and damage for his team. It will be Pyro looking for the backline, but of course the Jinx is too slippery and will get out. The Gwen is actually able to chunk out Hazuki here with the snip, and it will be BSG that's trying to make their way away. Tonin here trying to figure out if he should walk in and fight the Gwen, and eventually decides that he will. It will be Admiral Bishop though taking the 2v1, losing the Lulu here, and it will be Hazuki actually nearly taking him out with the return flash auto to finish him off there. Very well played. At the end, very good cleanup. That is a brawl ideas for the side of BSG, although the mid fight there was a bit choppy. There seems to be a bit of miscommunication between the frontline divers and the backline of BSG. Very good and strong dive from Juno and Pyro there, although they do miss the mark on the Jinx, but do find her eventually. This is probably a good decision actually to take out the Lulu that early, as it does shut down a lot of the protection that it offers to the Vel'Koz and the Jinx, so that was a relatively good call. Although, I feel like Tone probably could have walked up a bit more there and autoed, although it was the Gwen who was keeping him zoned off. I don't know if backing off and ulting was the right call necessarily, but nonetheless well played from him. He kept himself safe and dealt damage, so job well done. Of course, now with teleport on both solo laners, Barcelona Gaming will now look to utilize their pick potential, hopefully, in the sides and their split push power. Looks like Tone is going for a reset here, so we may see some potential passive play for a bit on the side of BSG. Looks like Meet the Coomers, though, will be grouping in mid, trying to defend what towers they do have left here. Although there isn't much of a jungle left to farm anywhere, so not much will happen. Looks like the 1-4 split push will occur for both teams now, as Admiral Bishop does rotate his way over, though, to shadow the Gwen, as the Gwen now loses the 1v1 to the Jax. Juno looking to secure some vision control here in the topside river, as Baron is coming up in about a minute though, so still a lot of time. He looks for a reset. Let's see. It's interesting to see though how BSG is actually taking a lot of resets in which their members are desynchronized on it. So it's actually strange to see how Meet the Coomers aren't capitalizing as much as I'd like on these windows of weakness for BSG, in which they are missing a person on the map because they've recalled. So it's not like they lack engage tools either. They do have a Sejuani with the ultimate, so it's kind of strange to see that they aren't using these as well as they should. But it is relatively hard to know when your opponent is basing without that much vision control on the map, as a lot of the boards on the map right now are on the red side. Hastaki here though will be caught out by the zap from Johnson, but V2 very well placed, gets the shutdown kill, and also very well played by Big Boss, keeping the damage up and landing the empowered snip snip and the ultimate here. Of pick, Meet the Coomers will be very much stronger and can secure the dragon control in 30 seconds, so it's likely that they will look for that, although that pick is nullified by the fact that Pyro does now have to push in the top lane and Big Boss is forced to answer. Although both members have TP and Ignite, will be Big Boss here looking for the trade, although he does expend Zone's Hourglass, which of course actually only buys more time for Pyro's Counter-Strike to come back up, so I don't know if that was actually the right call. Although it does buy more time for the E, it's not enough. And of course, Admiral Bishop there with Sejuani ultimate will let Pyro just escape barely with the teleport. So quite unlucky, and of course the Mega Death Rocket won't be used to find anything here. Of course, the Mega Death Rocket damage has been capped below that of Smite, so even with that, unless there has been a miss Smite from the enemy jungler, it's actually nearly impossible now to steal major objectives with Jinx Mega Death Rocket, so please stop trying that. It's irritating. The damage is capped against monsters. There's no reason you should be trying it anymore. It's not worth it. The only time you should use it is if you know the enemy doesn't have Smite. Of course, Haseki now in the bot side of the map with teleport matching the Gwen again. Still very slippery. I don't think either of them can kill each other, but of course, keeping the pressure down there and keeping the Gwen away from the team fights is definitely one of the correct calls here. Of course, even with the scuttle up, looks like Meet the Coomers is trying to establish what control they can over the river here. They are fighting 4v3, although they may not necessarily know that as the Jax is making his way down. He may be spotted on the ward. No, he isn't actually, and it will be Husky that actually instantly deletes Big Boss here with the distortion and R and Q. So not much will actually be found. Pyro there didn't actually even pick up the assist, so the extra man down here doesn't actually mean as much. Looks like they will be starting up the Baron, though at a man disadvantage, although the LeBlanc does burn TP here. Secret Age does look for the engage. Juno into the back line, won't find much. Curtain Call opens up and does tag Johnson, but V2 twice. Will miss the fourth though, but a huge shield will be placed. Hasaki here looking for the blow up, and it looks like it will be a suicide bomber here as he does find the pick. And it will be Johnson, but V2 using the stopwatch, but won't find much versus the Tonin, and it will be both double kill going towards him. And it looks like Pyro is just kind of ending the game here as the Vel'Koz is forced to teleport back. Looks like BSG will just look for a Baron here and the double inhibitor, and also an inhibitor turret. Gwen finally is back up on the map though. The base is falling for Muka Coomers. As Baron is secured here. Triple inhibitor down. It looks like complete map control with all the vision here on the map actually being on the side of BSG. Alright, so it looks like it will be a full reset for BSG as well off the Baron. They're just securing the rest of their jungle as they look to move in on the rest of the map and looking for the kill at the final two towers and Nexus that still stand on the side of Meet the Coomers. And Meet the Coomers doesn't really look like they have any choice but just to turtle and clear waves at this point. It's kind of what happens when you lose Baron and get triple inhibbed. So it looks like Pyro will be peeling off here to Baron up the next wave of incoming minions. As they just kind of herald the minions in. Dredgeline though will land, and Tonin instantly deletes elongated girth here. Not much he can actually do in response. The next Dredgeline will not find Big Bosk as the mist, Hallowed Mist does come out. And of course they're doing what they can to hold the turrets, but of course depth charge will be found on the Big Bosk, and the game is over. It's over, right? You guys are chasing the Big Bosk for the final kill. Okay, and end the game already. And the game is over. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that was quite the game. Moving on to game 2 now. Actually, you know what? Let's do a bit of reflecting on game 1. Um, well, let's see. I'd say that Meet the Coomers definitely played to their win condition in the top lane significantly better and did get the early lead on the Gwen, but taking the turret that early probably was not the right call. Giving the long lane over to Pyro to farm back up and get himself back into the game may not have been that beneficial that early into the game. Cracking the tower does give a lot of gold over, but you are also giving over a lot more safety to the Jax, which he wants that early, especially when he's put that behind. So that probably was one of the first errors which snowballed the Jax back into the game. Of course, there were points where the Jax had more farm, of course, because he had the long lane, and the Gwen couldn't really walk up as much because he doesn't have the safety of his jungler there all the time. So that probably was not the right call. But aside from that, it was relatively well played from both teams. Excellent map control and vision control, actually, for Secret H001, a lot of the map was just covered in red wards, like most of the game actually. It was insane. It was like the ratio of like red team wards to blue team wards on the map was like at least like 5-1. It was actually insane, the vision control from Bar Spirit Gaming. So very well played there. Also, very good engages and good diving. Very well coordinated. The Volibear and the Jax going in at once off the Nautilus's dredge line and depth charge. So definitely very well played. Um, Although shout out to Johnson but V2 though, who did do a very good job of keeping his distance and putting out as much damage as he could. But there's not much you can do against a Jax who has like a 4-second cooldown on his leap strike. So and also like a 5-1 LeBlanc. So not much you can do there, but of course very well played. A Fed Gwen diving the backline definitely is actually a lot less terrifying than a Jax, primarily because the Jax has a form of lockdown and CC. Gwen definitely needs a diving buddy and can't go in alone. If you go in, you have to have a buddy there to, of course, lock down targets so you can land your true damage. It's very important. Of course, a lot of the times their Admiral Bishop was the one getting engaged on or had to peel back to try and peel Johnson but V2, kind of leaving the Gwen the Gwen there just alone without any CC. So very hard to land damage at that point. Moving on to game 2 though, looks like of course Win Diesel will take the blue side this time against Win Win Win. So love to see how that plays out. Of course, it is important to note that wondering about the Yasuo ban this time. As Win Diesel does love to keep their full melee composition. Let's see if Win 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 want to disrupt that, and or will they use that to their advantage, and of course play around it like they did last time. So let's move into the draft or a break for that. All right, looks like it'll be a break. Looks like our players are not ready for a draft, so it looks like we'll be moving into a break now for game 2. Oh, okay, yep, let's move on to a break. All right, we are back on the desk, and of course, it's a huge disappointment. There will be no game 2 for today. It is canceled because win TJ into cut did not show up. Of course, this is very sad news, and depending on the reasoning behind this, win will either, of course, receive a loss or the game will be rescheduled. Uh, that will be, of course, on further notice. Win is free to look for a replacement player, and of course, uh, yeah, I guess that'll be it. They can look for a replacement player of a similar tier. There's not much to it, I guess. Yeah, that's it. All right, that'll be all for today, folks. See you everyone tomorrow again.